Hey everybody, welcome to Surface Level, a show that takes a look at society's expectations and rejects the ones we don't see it for, all from the perspective of three black queer best friends. I'm one of your hosts, Damon, and today, Tony, Jordan, and I are discussing getting your hair fried, dyed, and laid to the side in an environment where mostly straight men reside. Is the Black Barbershop a safe space for black queer men? What conversations would you like to have in the Black Barbershop? This is A Little Off the Top. Okay, so season 2, we always start with some fun games. So today, I have 9 photos in my hand, but only 3 of these girls will continue to be in the running to become Surface Level's next top wig.
Oh, well, I'm bald, so now anyway.
Baldies count as wigs as well.
Can't wait to see these photos.
So we'll do our best at describing some fun photos of all 3 hosts and pick the best option for everybody.
Okay.
We'll also add the photos in the story so that everybody can play along for the week that we do this episode.
Yes.
So first, we're going to start with Jordan.
Oh, God.
Are we going to pick the bald head scallywag when she had the skin fade, the platinum blonde ambition, she had a low-cut dye job, or the baby fro, which is the current day?
Good Lord.
Oh. So, I mean, I'll go first since these are Jordan's photos. I think my favorite was when she tried to give you legally blonde.
Tony likes blonde, Jordan?
Yeah, I mean, it's, not typical for Jordan, I don't think, and it showed a little bit more personality. So, a little risque. I like it.
I'm going to go with the blonde, too. She only had it for like a day and a half, but...
See,
you know how she do.
I had it for a full week in Brazil. But I would personally go for the skin, like what do you call that? A buzz
bald
cut.
head scallywag?
The buzz cut?
It was a buzz cut. I would go for that.
Okay.
I'll do that again.
All right. So with Tony, are we going babyface Tony with the fade, young adult Tony with the fade beard combo, or Howard Daddy with the baldy? And for reference?
Yeah, it's pretty Tony what they call me.
I'll go first.
Jordan, we start there.
I'm in love with the baldy. I think that I was an avid supporter of the bald head. I think it fits you. And it feels grown. It feels attractive. It feels sexy. Keep it.
Making her hot in the cat.
Well, you know what? I mean, I did love babyface Tony. That was back in my youth. But I will say, like, I'm pleasantly surprised and happy with the bald head. Thank God I have my father's shape, his head shape. So it works for me, and I think it's going to be my look going forward. So
I agree with Jordan. I was all for the bald Tony, and it works.
yes.
All right. So then I guess we have to talk about me.
Here we
So I had the ombre blonde fade, the baby fro transitional hair, and then now my locks.
Let's see these photos. Ooh. Well, I mean,
So different. It's weird.
They're so different.
They're so different.
I think the locks. I think that you were born to have hair that you can like move out of your face.
yeah, I would
Constantly.
have to say that, we're growing into the looks that we're meant to have, and these locks, I don't want them to get too much longer because then you'll be carrying on, but this is your look. And that photo is fierce. I can't wait for them to see that in the stories.
I think, go for a lob.
A lob?
A long bob.
A long bob.
A long bob lock.
Let's not get longer than that.
No, maybe we'll see. Maybe.
We'll see.
All right, so last question, final round. If any of the hosts were exploring a new look, which do we think will be best? Jordan with a pastel dye job, Tony with top locks, or Damon with the baldy? Tony, let's start with you.
I think me with the top locks would be sickening, fierce.
Well, you can get your little wig.
Well, I mean, the girls do I think it's no longer taboo or a faux pas to have the faux locks that people are wearing these days. So, and when they're done right and tastefully, they look good. And I could see
the lace front.
No,
yeah, that's what it is.
Well,
It's a
I
lace
mean,
front.
listen, if
She's
I
trying
could,
to shame you. Get your lace front.
I'm not. I'm just trying to let us use the proper terms.
listen, when I bust out with my wig, I got to get it properly done, though. I got to go to someone that really knows what the fuck they're doing.
Jordan, what you think?
I'm about to pick myself too. I think a pastel, but like a shortcut, like a Maluma Buzz pastel pink. That'd be fun.
I actually am going to go with Jordan with the pastel dye job.
Okay.
Because I feel like you play around in dye. And actually, when your hair is dyed, I look at you, I'm like, that's really fun. Like, that's more of like who I know you to be versus like the conservative, like baby fro.
We love to see
girl.
it.
The baby fro is birthed from the quarantine. That's that's not the day to day. It is though.
It is. The barbershop's been open for 2 months, girl.
Right. You tried it.
Anyway, all right. So moving out of our game, today we wanted to kind of have a discussion about our experiences being Black men, but Black queer men in what's like the kind of the best place in the world for most Black men, which is the barbershop. It's the place where people are speaking openly, they're speaking loudly, and they are finding community. And we wanted to kind of have a discussion about our experience in that space. So quick, what are the first 3 words that come to mind when you think about the Black barbershop? Jordan.
The first 3 words. So traditional, inconvenient,
Ooh, all right now. We'll get into that.
hip hop.
Okay. Tony.
Well, I'm going to cheat a little bit and add a 4th word.
See.
When I think about the barbershop, I think, how many you got? Because I want to get in and out. So let's cut to the chase. We ain't got time for the small talk.
Okay. I think about masculinity, passion, and community.
Yes.
Yeah, child, they'd be passionate about everything in there. Girls will debate anything from politics to chips.
Listen. Okay.
Conspiracies.
Conspiracy theories. Like, Trump killed the Obamas, but they got married to the Clintons.
I mean, they talk about everything.
I saw it on YouTube.
Right.
Les.
Good Lord.
Continue cutting my hair. How about that?
Please, how many you got? It's inconvenient, as Jordan said. All right. So when we think about the barbershop, it's really like pantheon of the Black male world. Like that's like heaven for them. So what are you guys' experiences in predominantly cisgender straight environments? Do you feel comfortable? Do you feel like you're being a shell of yourself? Tony, maybe to start with you.
Well, my experience was really, it started for me, all of us as a kid. And I just remember 2 types of experience. One with my father and then the other with like my mother or my aunts. My father would take me to the barbershop with him. He would basically like sit me in the chair. My haircuts were free. He knew everybody. He was maybe gambling in the back, being social, running around. And what I enjoyed about that was just, it felt like you said, Damon, community. And I think that is some of my best memories of like being young and going to the barbershop for the first time. And then on the other hand, you had like my mom and my aunts that would either bring me to the barbershop, send me in there while they go run errands, and then, come back for me, or send me with cash and, making sure you had that tip money. They gave you like $2. Tip that man.
Working hard.
Yes. So for me, I always felt a sense of like belonging and, but as I grew up, that changed. Really? So we could talk about that. I don't know if you want to hear about Jordan's experience on the younger side, and then we can talk about now, present day, because it's different. But yeah, I'll stop there and I'll let Jordan speak about his experience in the barbershop.
I mean, I think that my experience in the barbershop is very similar to my experience with Black straight men in general, is that I always had this anxiety that I was never fully accepted. Like, I never had any like overt, like, we don't agree with you, but I always had this like lingering idea that like people were just like tolerating me. And I don't feel like if I wasn't able to participate in straight conversations, I don't feel like there was like an effort made to figure out what my interests were. not to say that it's the barber's responsibility to like figure out how to be my friend.
Right.
But I don't know. I never felt completely comfortable in participating in the broad barbershop conversation. That always gave me some like level of anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. I think that because I never participated in that, I just sort of like retrieved into myself and not really like engaged as much. So for me, the barbershop is a very transactional experience for me.
Right. I feel kind of similarly, like I don't think I participated in the conversations because I didn't relate. It was like sports and girls. That ain't had nothing to do with me, except for when I wanted to watch the sports and, look at the boys.
For different things.
Right, for different things. But I think I was more of a spectator. And so like what Damon was saying earlier about like listening and hearing the crazy shit that they would be talking about and just rolling my eyes and being like, girl, enough. But Damon, what about you?
I never had a problem being in the barbershop. I feel like when I was growing up, I went to like a really, I don't know, diverse barbershop with just like the guy that owned it was like a minister at the church I went to he also was like an ex-convict who like got out of jail and like started this barber business and was employing black men around us. And like, I feel like it's one of the places where you really see a big spectrum of black men actually. Mm-hmm. And I think that it's one of the places where, it's like verbose and it's loud and it can be fucking intimidating to get into that conversation. But I feel like, I don't know, like I feel like I was always drawn into it. Like even if I wasn't out and openly gay in the barbershop, people always respected. They like knew that I was like smart, like you're book smart and what do you think about this thing? Or like when I was in college and coming home, like, oh, that's the college boy. Like what? Like they would bring me into the conversation in that aspect of myself. And I felt like I was still just as welcome and a part of the exchange, even if like at a certain point, it's just like, I ain't talking about these women. Right.
But how many times do you, like, going back to what Jordan was saying and just about the anxiety, like, they're talking about girls and then they showing you pictures like, yo, look at, like, check her out. And you looking like how am I supposed to respond to this?
That's the most uncomfortable, Tony, because, like, and I want to hear what you guys have to think about this, but I feel like that's what sort of also gave me anxiety, which is why I didn't want to engage, is because I didn't want to be confronted with questions that would ultimately require me to sort of reveal who I was attracted to. And I feel like that was like so common because like it's the barbershop. Right. So obviously they're talking about women they find attractive, like whoever. And if I don't respond in a way that's sort of like expected, I'm sort of like revealing something about myself that I don't necessarily want to with this group of people.
Right. It's like you're like falling into the seat. Like, don't nobody ask me nothing. Don't nobody ask me nothing.
Exactly. So it's just like, I'll just go to sleep during not to sleep.
Close your eyes.
I'll close my eyes.
Right.
I used to do that for a very long time. Just like close my eyes in the barbershop when I was getting a haircut.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you still feel that way? Or like as adults, when you guys go into a barbershop now, like what are your feelings?
Well,
Tony.
I think now, like I'm very sure of who I am. The barber, but I was going more frequently. Definitely, like I don't hide any parts of myself, and I actually felt like I built a solid relationship with my regular barber, where it's just like small talk in the beginning, but they cut my hair. I'm in and out. I have a relationship. I text them. I'm coming in. Like I no longer felt that anxiety that I may have felt when I was in my like teens and like figuring out who I was, and so now it's different. Damon.
I agree with that. Like for a while, actually, some years ago, Jordan and I went to the same barber, D, back in the day. Shout out.
D.
Shout out D.
All right now.
Yeah.
D the barber.
Oh, okay.
D-A, not the barber. The barber.
Oh, duh.
The barber.
Oh, wow.
But anyway, I remember at one point he was talking because like I started going to him when I came to New York. Jordan went to him for a little while. I sent like a couple other people I knew. He was just like, he was like, I ain't got no problem with you, man. He was like, I know. He was like, I know you're gay. He was just like, I know most of your friends you sent here is gay. He's just like, I'm cutting their hair. We ain't never had an issue. And it's just like, again, like I think that sometimes we go into straight environments with the assumption that we're going to be mistreated.
Right.
And that's not to say that there are not spaces and times where people are meant to be, are treated really unfairly. But I think that in some ways you do have to give people the benefit of the doubt. And I try not to go into spaces where, like, if it's a bunch of straight cisgendered men and I assume that people are going to look down on me or make me feel like an other because I'm different.
Right.
Versus, like, just being accepting and open, which is, luckily, has been my experience.
I mean, I like that because you have to take yourself. That's our own insecurity of when you say, like, assuming is probably the worst thing you can do. Because when you end up having these conversations with these barbers or whoever, and they're, like, usually cool with it. If you're, like, confident in who you are, they don't care a lot. And at the end of the day, that money is still green.
Hello?
And they're going to take it, okay?
Did the check still clear?
Yes. Jordan?
My relationship has absolutely changed.
Okay,
So
good.
I think that obviously leaving a small town, coming to a place like New York, where there's so many different ways of living, different type of people that come in, I think that the barbers that I've been in contact with have been a lot more tolerant than what I've experienced growing up. And also, like, I think that I do want a great haircut, but there's other factors that I consider. You know what I mean? Like, I consider, like, the conversation when I'm getting my haircut. I consider how timely they are. And all of that sort of culminates in, like, who I decide to, like, be a repeat customer for. So I feel like I at least got to the point where, like, I'll make sure that my personal barber is somebody who I feel comfortable with. I still don't feel 100% comfortable participating in a lot of the public conversations. Like, when the barbers start to, like, talk across the shop.
Oh, my goodness.
And, like, I go to, like I used to go to, like, a bigger shop pre-pandemic. But, like, when they would, like, get into, like, talking across the room, like, I don't participate in that. Like,
Right.
But, like, I'll talk to my barber.
Yeah.
It's much better. And yeah, I feel like to you guys' point, it's a lot more tolerant and it's a lot easier.
So, Jordan, if you could build your ideal barber environment, what would that be?
Oh my goodness, do we have enough time? So
Wait, what kind of experience you trying to have?
Right.
we would definitely start with
Happy ending.
accepting not a happy ending, Tony. Come on.
A happy haircut ending, you know.
Well, yeah, that's a happy.
I like to be happy at the end of mine.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I love it. I love a good haircut. Yeah,
Continue to speak very openly.
love that. I love that for us. I am so tired of going to the ATM before I go to the barbershop. I think that is so archaic. I'm tired of it. I don't know why we're doing it. I want to be able to, like, tap my phone and do Apple Pay or a credit card or something, anything that doesn't require me going out and getting paper cash to, like, make a transaction. That
Yes.
really fires me up.
Why are we
Also-
still here? Right.
Also, I would like for my appointments to be honored. If I book a 1 p.m., I want to get my haircut at 1 p.m.
Sharp.
because usually I have something to do at 2. So,
Period.
She books that Saturday back to back.
Oh.
hello? If I'm coming all the way downtown to get a haircut, you already know that I lined up a whole bunch of other activities.
She got to
'Cause-
shut her wig off. Shut the wig off.
You got more plans than anybody I know.
So, like, an actual, like, really, like, consistent and reliable booking system. And then, like, a smaller environment is what I typically like. And I would really, really, really like a hair wash at the end of my haircut to just, like, remove all the dead hair. I hate, like, going, I like to be able to get a haircut and go somewhere else, but I don't want to have, like, hair in my ears and hair on my collar and,
Don't you
like,
press your way on over to the salon.
Right.
the salon. They're not doing our hair.
She
You'd
want
be
to go
surprised.
to Diva Curl.
Isn't that a product, or is that a shop?
It both.
Diva curl.
Okay, but yeah, I think those are the most important things: the money transaction, the availability, and the consistency in which I get my haircut at the time that I schedule, and then just get the dead hair off of me so that I can, like, go on with my day.
Right. I mean, it's important.
Tony, what do you think? Ideal
Well,
barbershop.
I mean, so our barbers could be looked at as, like, we have relationships with them. They're like our fake boyfriends, in our minds.
They're your father,
And
Who's mine?
your uncle, your professor.
Okay. Okay. So, you know, that it's important to have that excellent, exceptional barber experience. So for me, one of my favorite barber experiences was actually when we were at Howard University, and one of our fellow, like, you know, one of my friends was able to just book me an appointment, come to my dorm room and cut my hair, and then he go on his merry way. I didn't have to go anywhere. The haircut was fierce. I enjoyed the conversation because it was a friend, and it was a straight guy too at that.
Tony, this was a student?
It was a student.
Oh.
Yeah. You probably got your hair cut by him.
No.
Everyone did.
I went to a shop.
Oh, well, good for you.
Yeah.
I mean, I did too.
I went to a shop.
But right.
Hello.
I did go to, what was that barbershop across the street?
That's the one I went to.
Yes.
I don't know what it's called.
I forget what it was called. But I like the idea of someone coming to me if I could have my ideal situation. But having an appointment, being able to have a relationship where I like to dialogue with the person. It's weird to just go in and be like, how many you got? Sit down, get the cut, leave. Like, it's like, wait, all right, handle me with care. So
You like to be handled with care.
you like to be handled with care?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So if you want to be handled with care, you probably want something similar. I mean, what about you, Damon? You got locks now, so it's different.
Well, so I grew right now I'm growing my beard out to be a little darker, and for me with a dark beard, it needs a little shape up.
Yes.
So I started going to the barbershop again for the first time after like almost 2 years. And I really like going to like the regular old barbershop as it is. I just feel like so much of
No appointment?
Oh no, I would like an appointment. but like even if I don't, like I don't mind that. Just because like our lives are so damn bougie. And for me it's a thing that reminds me of like home and going to the bar with my dad and my 3 brothers, or my grandfather, and being around men that like don't exist in like our corporate structures, even in our like friend groups.
Yeah.
And for me, it's one of the things, even kind of like living in Harlem and just like walking around on a weekend that feels connected to the community that is more similar to how I grew up versus the life that in some ways we've shaped for and we worked for and created for ourselves. And I think that connection is still really beautiful. Like, I don't want to gentrify the barbershop.
Yes. It's a human experience.
It's an experience, and it's a cultural experience.
Wait,
yeah, like
gentrify the
I'm
barbershop.
not trying to gentrify the barbershop.
What's gentrifying the barbershop?
Child, if you would go to the barbershop, I want my hair washed and I want a glass of champagne.
Damon, I do not need champagne.
If there was an option to have champagne and to not have champagne, you'd be all over the champagne.
If they gave me champagne at the conference, like meeting at work, I would take the champagne. But like, I'm not requiring it.
I don't think you required it.
Look, asking for a Visa transaction is not gentrifying.
Listen, he don't want to get cash.
She don't want to get cash.
He want his hair washed at the end.
Right.
He want to be able to go straight on to,
Yes.
Right. She got to go straight to her brunch at...
where?
Where's she going to brunch, child? I don't know.
Somewhere fancy
Somewhere
and
bougie. Mama Fuka.
Right.
Not going to Momofuku for brunch.
All right. And I think it's fun because like one of the things that is most important in the barbershop is like the conversation and is the interaction.
Yeah.
So like say Jordan created his ideal bougie barbershop and we were to start off a conversation. Like we've talked about how we're kind of afraid to participate sometimes. And how can we, if you were to start a conversation and make it about you, what would it be? Tony, maybe we start there this time.
Okay. So let me think about this because I don't think about bringing up anything when I'm at the barbershop. Because that's, I want the barber to get me in and out. And so I want to do less talking and more cutting of my hair.
Hello?
So I can get to brunch or wherever I need to go. Meeting Jordan
At Mama Fuka.
after he had his wash and set. I think, though, what would be interesting to bring up in the barbershop, being a Black queer man, is talking to these Black barbers, these heterosexual barbers, about the idea of what if their son or their daughter were gay or queer or what have you, and would they be okay with that?
Oh, Lord.
And how would they handle it? I want to go in and educate the girls on if that happened. I want to know, what would you do? Would you be accepting? And maybe I can impart some wisdom on how they can handle that with care. And I think that would be so fun to talk about because it's not a conversation that comes up with them on a daily. And when they're faced with it, as they are,
Yeah.
you know, they need the tools to be, ready to approach that. And also it benefits the child. So I would love to entertain something like that in the barbershop.
It's also really helpful for barbers in general because they're so fucking loud. They interact with so many people in our community.
Mm-hmm.
They have so many loud conversations about things. If there is a bit more knowledge and acceptance and like the promoting of that from these people who are these, I don't want to say griots. I don't know.
Mongrel. You call them what you call them.
But just people that a lot of young men or even the girls getting their hair cut off these days.
Yeah.
Just coming to them and hearing them talk about things. And if they were to hear them speak about a child that they loved who was queer or a daughter that they loved who was a lesbian or whatever the experience would be, I think it would help with so many people in our community because for, like we were saying earlier, for so many types of black men, the barbershop is a touch point.
Yes.
You can't go down, unfortunately, to the Caucasian barbershop and get your hair cut.
No, ma'am.
You're going to look like...
I mean, you can't get your hair cut with scissors. You have to get a clipper.
Ooh.
You have to like get the full thing. A
You can't get your
fade.
hair cut with scissors. Can we give that a moment?
Bring it down to a 2, a 1, a 1.5.
Do not
a
pull
taper.
scissors. I'm like, I need a shape up. You pull scissors out. What are we doing?
I'm like, what?
You know what?
happening?
Wrong road.
Wrong road.
Jordan, what convo you having?
So I want to less serious. But I definitely want to have a conversation about female rappers and
Less.
and who they like, because I feel like I have this conversation with all of my friends,
Yeah.
which are mostly gay black men and straight black women.
Who you calling gay?
Huh? What are you?
I'm a straight black woman.
Are you? always knew it, sis. No, I would want to have that conversation and just sort of like see like what I don't feel like I get too much insight on that, and it's something I'm really interested in. It's just like, like female rappers, who they're appealing to, what people think about them, and like I don't know. It's just like something that I like consume a lot of and care a lot about.
So how would you pitch that conversation?
I'll just be like, what do you guys think about
Nicki Minaj.
I mean, not even that, because, we all know what they think. But
I mean,
like,
I'm curious about how many
like
straight
mulatto.
male barbs are out there. You might make some friends.
Right. I didn't even think about that.
Straight.
It has to be very few.
Male barbs.
Yeah.
I've never even thought about that.
Right. It took me a minute to get that out. I was like,
It sounds like an oxymoron.
But I feel like, when I go into like the barbershop, like if like Travis Scott like drops or something like that, like I said, hip hop was one of the adjectives that I thought about. Because the barbershop that I went to and I have been going to for the last couple of years before the pandemic, like anytime a new album came out, they were blasting it.
Yeah.
But like they never blast like when a female rapper dropped anything. Like, but it was like Travis Scott dropped something, we're listening to the whole thing. Like
I will say that
Partisan is dropping something, it's the whole thing. I just want to know do they even care?
right. Well, first of all, straight male barbs. I just thought about the double entendre. Barbs, barbers. But what they're doing, Jordan, is they're probably like queening out at home.
Hello.
Well, that's why I want to have the conversation.
Oh, you want them to queen out in the barbershop. Okay.
If
I
they
will
feel
say
so
that
compelled.
I've been getting my hair cut by this black lesbian woman. Child, she was in the barbershop playing WAP. And I was like,
Yes.
this hits different.
That would be nice.
That would be nice.
Let's have a conversation
But then
about that.
it
What do you
started-
think about these verses?
The verses started going, and they were like, this is maybe a bit much for 1 PM on a Saturday.
It's not.
Child.
I mean,
So I think
the
that, and then I think alternatively, I would like to talk about just like TV shows. Like I feel like I like talking about like the shows that I'm watching on TV.
She can talk about them white women TV shows she be
No,
watching.
like like Lovecraft Country.
Did you all watch the new Jennifer Aniston show?
you know he love a Handmaid's Tale. now.
Oh, that's
Child.
good. The morning show?
Mhm.
That's Jennifer Aniston, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I didn't know if it was a different Jennifer. But yes, it's that, and then it's Reese Witherspoon. That's good. That was good. I want to talk about that. Like
Jenny's
I like
Barbershop,
talking.
like Jennifer
Well,
Aniston
I
or
mean,
Reese
They're
Witherspoon.
definitely not. They are not watching those shows. I could guarantee.
But they might really like it.
But the thing is, if you speak up, Jordan gonna find the other Jordan in the barbershop, and he gonna speak up from the other corner of the barbershop and be like, Meryl Streep.
Yes. I see you. We see each other.
We see each other.
Yes. Well, Damon, I can't wait to hear what you want to bring up in the barbershop.
Why I always got to get some kind of
something
intro.
something real heavy.
I know it's going to be very interesting.
Interesting conversation.
Ooh. Okay. We're bringing up things from outside the podcast.
That's inside.
Sure.
Now.
Continue to speak very openly. I would like to bring up a conversation saying that the proximity to queerness has no bearing on anybody else's sexuality or perceived masculinity. Mm-hmm. And I think about a very specific...
Wait, can you repeat that?
Anyone's proximity to queerness has no impact on their own sexuality or their perceived masculinity.
Yes.
So gay by association for the girls that can't keep up.
Okay, and he's not talking about me. I just wanted to repeat it.
I don't give...
Oh, no, not you, Tony.
No, not me.
No, others.
Yeah.
That's going to be the last definition y'all get on surface level.
I just wanted to make sure, because you know Damon speaks in cursive.
Ooh.
Well, hopefully our listeners
very pretty cursive.
can read.
It is.
But I say that because I had a very interesting conversation a few years ago with one of my straight friends. And the thing he said to me was like, oh, I don't have an issue with gay men. He was just like, but like, just like, don't mess with me in some way, shape, or form. Just like, don't hit on me or like that type of thing.
Oh, okay.
And what I said to him, I was just like, why is that a problem? If I were in a straight club and a woman came up to me and said, oh, I think you're attractive or I'm in some way interested in you, I wouldn't be offended.
Right.
No one would expect me to be offended.
Right.
It's just something that exists, and like people are attracted to people, and then sometimes they express that. So my point was that even if a queer person came to you and said like, oh, I'm attracted to you, I'm interested in you, and you said, oh, thank you, first of all.
Yes.
Hello. Respect.
And I'm straight, so therefore like we can be friends, but it won't be much other than that. I think that like people need to be able to digest that a bit more.
I like that. Let's normalize that.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of times people are like thinking all gay men like want to like drag them away into a dark dungeon. It's just like, first of all, people don't want half of your dusty asses anyway.
Period.
Second of all, if someone is, why does somebody's appreciation intimidate you?
Right.
Like
it's an insecurity. There's something there.
I mean, we all know what it is.
What is it? She got a word over there,
right
in the
I
corner.
mean, it's not like a new word. It's just homophobia.
But I think that but the thing is having that conversation out loud, because like it's like racism, where like people think of like racism as like KKK, and if you're not in like the white hood and being like beating a black person over the head or a different type of race person over the head, then you don't want to assume you're racist. But there are levels to it, and there are different experiences that all people can have. And the same thing with homophobia. Like people think that, well, I would never gay bash, and I have gay friends, so therefore I'm not homophobic.
Right.
And it's just like, well, no, actually, the fact that like this gay man complimented you and you immediately went into defense mode, that's also an expression of homophobia, but you're not internalizing that because it doesn't look like beating me over the head and calling me a faggot.
And how many times do we hear straight men say, I have no problem with gay men, but just my son better not be gay.
Hello?
Like,
Kevin Hart.
it's like, wait a minute, hold on. This is, that's so,
one's not like the other.
Blows my mind.
Yeah.
That really blows my mind. So, I mean, this was a very interesting conversation, but that's all the time we had this week. Let's keep the conversation going, though. Let us know your thoughts and questions at surfacelevelpodcast.com. And if you enjoyed this discussion, please rate, review, and subscribe. You can stay updated by following us on Instagram and YouTube at Surface Level Podcast. And remember, stay curious.